How's it going there, everybody? It's Mr. Zen over here, bringing us a brand new Hunter x Hunter chapter discussion. And for today's segment, guys, we're going to be talking about is chapter 362, folks. Yes, folks, this chapter was definitely an interesting chapter to look at, but this chapter wasn't necessarily a battle chapter or more of it like how the previous chapter involved with Kurapika. No, this chapter was more involved in terms with the princesses of the Kakin Empire, and more along the lines as to this one. This chapter was definitely in suspenseful. Seeing all the characters interact with each other, seeing the other princesses' Nen Beasts. By the way, the Nen Beasts that we've been seeing so far, they're very creepy. I cannot for the love of God think that Togashi is really focusing heavily on how to create some very supernatural and like horror genre, like Cronenberg kind of status, kind of Nen Beasts that makes sense as to why this arc is very interesting, because the fact that Togashi wants to separate this arc different from the rest of the arcs that previously happened. And definitely the mystery part is also keeping us entertained. And the thing about that as well that's very interesting is the fact that I'm loving the fact that each of the Nen Beasts that were introduced, there may be big, small, and it seems that they all have restrictions. Yes, folks, you heard me right. They have restrictions. But these restrictions are not only limited to the princes themselves, because the Nen Beasts themselves, like as I believe the king Nasubi actually said that basically the Nen Beasts themselves, they cannot attack another Nen Beast, and another Nen Beast cannot attack the Nen Beast owner. So it goes on to say that it's still going back to the political prowess that each of the kings have to possess in order to actually accomplish and survive to become on top. It makes sense because the fact that this selection process is more or less to say not focusing on the individual's ability to fight. No, folks. Let's clear our throat for that one. No, folks. It's more along the lines to say as to how you use your persons around you. It's like a chess game. That's what it's basically about. Learning how to use the people that you have around you in order to come out on top, because a king will know how to subjugate his followers and know how to use them properly, even in times of war. And this is definitely war, guys. It's a political war in itself, and it's gonna get very, very bloody down. It's bloody till the end of the time. But you gotta remember, guys, each of the princes also, they all have their own personalities in terms of what this selection process is going about. And majority of the princesses, it seems that they're not really interested in killing one another or focus on what's at hand. They're more focused on just heading towards the Dark Continent or benefiting what they want to accomplish. As you know, they live a life of luxury, so it doesn't really benefit them to actually go about and kill them. The only ones that I would say that are very, very interested is the top 5 of them, the top 5 princesses. And princesses, of course, there's one princess in the top 5, and these are the ones that we have to watch out for, because the fact that these are the ones that they want to gain the throne. And it seems that also the Nen Beasts themselves, they're very oddly shaped in terms of the top 5 ones. The rest of them kind of seem kind of like it blends with their personality, but the ones that are the top 5, the ones that I'm kind of intrigued, because the fact that the way that they're built, it seems more humanoid, and in terms of it, not humanoid, I should say, the way that it kind of represents the personality of the person is giving us like a little hint as to what kind. So let's go about through each of the princesses to see my interpretation of the Nen Beasts themselves, because the Nen Beasts, guys, this is all it's going to be about from this chapter and following is the Nen Beasts themselves. Togashi is definitely going to focus heavily on these. So, of course, we saw Benjamin's Nen Beast today in this chapter. And Benjamin's Nen Beast, it seemed more like a mixture of a bat-looking creature mixed with like an alien type of like creature, like a bat/alien. You guys don't want to talk about Alien, like the series. It reminds you of that, like a bat appendage-looking creature, or like a chimera ant of some sort. It reminds you of that. But Benjamin's actual Nen Beast, it's correlating to Benjamin's personality, and that is basically him being powerful, him being sturdy, being a predator in a sense. But the thing about it is that what the king said, that it doesn't matter if a Nen Beast has fangs or not, because it's useless. It's useless. The Nen Beasts aren't going to be attacking each other. So it makes no sense as to why would it have fangs. And I could see why that makes sense too, because the fact that the Nen Beasts themselves is not really what's focusing. Is what focus at hand. Is more or less to say the person's own intellectual will to see how far they can go about throughout the whole entire time. And knowing Benjamin's, he has power, yes, but does he have the brains to go about it to the end? But we have yet to figure that out. Hopefully they kind of explain more. Now Camila's actual one, that one was a little bit more on the skeptical side. It felt like not an octopus, I'm sorry, like a jellyfish of some sorts, a jellyfish, but the head was full of breasts. And I'm like thinking, okay, interesting. So does that mean that focuses more on the terms of power? Because remember, guys, breast is a symbolism of power and fertility. So does that mean Camila is more focused as a strong person to watch out for? So she's definitely a threat to possess. So you guys gotta watch out for Camila. And also the fact that, I'm kind of wondering what type of personality how she will go through towards the arc as well. Because remember, guys, each of the characters, they may, like I said, you with Benjamin himself, we don't know how their personality is going to change over time. So let's hopefully that they at least get a little bit of personality change. Because if Benjamin is going to become more, I don't say intellectual, but more careful throughout the arc, that would be interesting. Versus Camila, who seems like a very collective person and intelligent person too, if I might add. So let's see how she might seem more like a frail person as time goes on, or she'll go into the stereotypical trope of being a defenseless female. That's what I'm trying to say. But moving on to the next one, the one that I did find very intriguing is Zhang's, if I'm pronouncing it right. Zhang's Nen Beast was like a sun with like the hair. It looked like hairs. I don't think it was fire, but it looked like hairs. But it definitely resembled a sun and a face in the middle. His seemed very interesting because of the fact that his didn't seem like it poses as a threat, but it seems more like the awareness of Zhang seems very calm, collective, and it seems ready to either attack or defend. So Zhang is the one that we definitely have to watch out for. The third son is definitely the one that he seems that I personally would actually be always on the lookout. And hopefully I would not have to mess with this guy, because this guy looks like he might possess something. Now, Serenish's actual Nen Beast, as we saw in this chapter, my god, definitely creepy. One of the most creepiest ones. At first it looked very, okay, it wasn't as creepy, but when the chapter continued on, it was definitely creepy because of the fact that we see that this horse thing, it definitely opened its mouth in appendage, and it was reading Theta's actual like facial structure. Oh, definitely one scary one to look at. But Serenish's actual Nen Beast, like I said, is correlating to his evil intent. It to me, Serenish's Nen Beast seems more like the fact that intimidation. That's what it's actually going for. Intimidating. The way that the Nen Beast actually went up to Theta's actual face, like no truth can never escape Serenish. So I'm just wondering, like, wow, I wonder what kind of powers this Nen Beast possesses. Maybe it's a truth serum. Maybe that's what it be. But moving on, guys, we gotta move this to Beppa's. To Beppa's Nen Beast, to me it seemed like it's a very defensive one, as it seems like to Beppa's actual personality seems very defensive in terms of what it seems to correlate to him, because to Beppa's it seemed like a picture of like a goat / chameleon but with wheels. So maybe his personality is very flexible, as in terms as the way that Serenish and Tubeppa were having a conversation. So it seems that Tubeppa is very flexible in terms as to who he has to accomplish with. So it's very interesting to look at. Now Tyson's Nen Beast is very small and like how Kurapika's teacher said, they resemble like fairies. But it seems like it comes in swarms. So it seems to me that she relies on her people to bring about, not necessarily her own strength, which makes sense because the more people that are around her, the more happier she seems. That to me, that's what it seems like. Like Tyson's is very, very dependent on people. She's not very independent, I should say, which makes sense with her personality as to why those little fairies kind of latch onto everybody, because she depends on people. Now, moving on to another king is Lazarus, if I'm pronouncing it right. Sorry, I'm reading this off the Hunter x Hunter wiki. Lazarus is actually very interesting because the fact that his Nen Beast, it resembled a very, like a caterpillar of some sorts, like an Alice in Wonderland caterpillar. It just seems like more like his is more like a spying type of like it's definitely not spying. How do I pronounce it in a good way? I don't want to talk smack about because we don't know too much about the Nen Beast, but like Lazarus's Nen Beast just seems more like it's just a predator waiting. That's all it is. That's the way I see it. Like it's just patiently waiting to attack, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like it could harm. I have to say because it just looks very goofy in nature, so maybe that correlates to actually Lazarus. Actually, personally, maybe he's just very relaxed. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the right term. It's more of a relaxed nature. But like I said, could be wrong. Now moving on to Sail. His Nen Beast seems very interesting, and it seems more that it's gluttonous, very gluttonous. It was like a mouth all over that. I personally thought, okay, this Nen Beast, this guy's definitely gonna die. He's definitely gonna die in there. So poor guy. Moving on to Hockenberg's Nen Beast. Of course, we already saw it from the previous chapter. Hockenberg was like an owl, sort of like Cyclops-looking creature, which I thought was very interesting. But remember, Hockenberg does not want to be a part of this, so it seems that it's more of the fact that it's a predator type of Nen Beast. So Hockenberg is definitely one that we have to watch out for, as he wants to leave, but for specific reasons, and he is also willing to actually face. Kachos, and I believe what was the other one, and Fugetsu's. I don't think we've seen hers, so I could be mistaken. I'll go back to it, but I could be mistaken. Of course, we've seen Mimosas, which was actually that giant rat-looking thing, like a creature, which is very interesting. But hopefully see more of that. Marayams? I don't think we've seen that one. I don't think they explicitly showed it in this chapter. And of course, Wobble's parasitic Nen Beast. But like I said, these Nen Beasts, like I said, they're very interesting to look at. But like I said, it's more the top 5 ones that we have to look out for. These are the ones that definitely look like the ones that are ready. They're ready for anything. But Serenish, this chapter was definitely about Serenish, folks. I'm hoping that Serenish actually, with him, if he does accomplish Nen itself, I'm wondering what kind of Nen he will actually, you could say, what kind of Nen he will actually accomplish. Because remember, this inner dialogue between Theta and Sarkov was definitely suspenseful. We all, as viewers, we were kind of wondering, will Theta actually, show Serenish actually the right way of using Nen, or will she actually lie to him in order to keep his powers limited? But what I'm wondering is, if Serenish does learn Nen, what kind of Nen ability will it be? Will it be a Nen ability that will actually something that he's weakness and he'll try to improve upon it, or will he create something to help his Nen Beast actually accomplish more than what it is? Because remember, Serenish is a very intellectual person. He's always pinpointing and trying to figure out many possible ways in order to get about a situation. So I'm kind of wondering, well, what will Serenish actually accomplish by learning Nen? But like I said, very interesting. And I felt sorry for Theta in this chapter, because Theta actually was having that inner dialogue, and just at the last minute we noticed that she gives out and says, yes, I of course, she gives out and says, yeah, I'll teach you Nen. Like, she just basically gave in to Serenish's actual proposal. So Serenish, this guy is definitely the one that we have to watch out for the next couple chapters. Yeah. Choke on that, guys. Yeah. But I would say that's it for today's chapter, folks. Let me know down in the comments below as to what are you guys' thoughts on the Nen Beasts themselves. The Nen Beasts are, like I'm telling you, they're very creepy. They're just very creepy in nature. Cronenberg status, folks. Definitely Cronenberg. But like I said, let me know down in the comments what are you guys' thoughts on Serenish's ability to learn Nen. How do you guys think, what kind of Nen ability was he a conjure type, emitter, is he a I believe, is he one of those power types that, like I said, with Serenish, it just seems that to me, he would actually want to gain followers. That's the type of person that I feel like Serenish would like. He wants followers in order for him not to get his hands dirty. And, you know, of course. So to me, maybe just then we'll see what happens. But like I said, don't let me know down in the comments. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy my content, don't forget to give a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more Hunter x Hunter chapter discussions. And as always, guys, I hope to see you guys again in the next video. But peace out, folks.